Good morning. Today is Thursday, July 11th, 2024. We've been speaking a lot recently about leadership, about models of good leadership, and leadership that is found wanting. Because leadership is at the heart of these several Torah portions, including this week's Torah portion, the Parsha of Chukas. In this portion, we are reminded of the leadership of Miriam, who dies in this Parsha. We see the leadership of Moshe and Aharon in this week's Torah portion. Next week, we will see a different model of leadership of Balak, who is the king of a nation as he tries mistakenly to protect his nation. So not a good model of leadership. One person who has so much to teach us about good leadership, a great leader on many levels, was Rabbi Aharon Lichtenstein of blessed memory. He was a posek, an expert in every area of Jewish law, and he counseled countless individuals and groups and organizations in how to follow Jewish law. He was an incredible scholar with an amazing output of both written and spoken learning. He was a fabulous teacher who earned the respect and loyalty of his students over several generations. And for many of them and many others, he is a mentor and a role model. Even though I never had the privilege to study directly with Rabbi Lichtenstein, I did have the opportunity on a couple of occasions to at least learn from him in person, but I certainly consider him my teacher, my mentor, and certainly a role model. I have quoted him to you many times in many different contexts, and with God's help, I will continue to do so. An incredible person. About 9 years ago, just over 9 years ago, I heard his son, whose name is Rabbi Moshe Lichtenstein, also a great person. I heard his son, Rabbi Moshe Lichtenstein, speak, and he spoke about his father. And he said, my father, Rabbi Aharon Lichtenstein, has become a new posek, a new expert decider of Jewish law. Now, that was a very surprising comment because, as everyone in that room knows, Rabbi Aharon Lichtenstein had been a renowned posek for decades. And, even more surprisingly, Rabbi Moshe Lichtenstein was speaking about his father just a few weeks after he passed away. So it's strange that at that moment, a few weeks after his father's passing, for Rabbi Moshe to call his father a new posek, a new decider in Jewish law. And then he told us this story. Now, this story, he said, happened just 5 days earlier from when he was speaking to us. And again, just a few weeks after his father, Rabbi Aharon Lichtenstein, had passed away. And the story goes like this. There was a lawyer in New York, and the lawyer had a client, and the client wanted to cut some corners when it came to setting up his taxes. And what this client wanted to do would have been a very substantial tax savings. And objectively for this client, he really needed this tax break. And the client was pressing the lawyer to be willing to do this strategy. And the lawyer was about to agree. But just before he said those words, he said to the client, "Please wait here a minute." The lawyer went to another room and he asked himself, what would Rabbi Aharon Lichtenstein say about me agreeing to this strategy? Remember, Rabbi Aharon had passed away several weeks before. What would Rabbi Aharon Lichtenstein say about it? And the lawyer said he knew the answer immediately. That Rabbi Aharon would say, no, it's not the right thing. And no matter how much your client is pressuring you, and no matter how much he may objectively need it, if it's not right, it's not right. And the lawyer came back into the office. He said to the client, no, I don't agree. I'm not willing to do that for you. Rav Moshe Lichtenstein then explained what he meant by saying that his father was a new posek, because leadership is not just what you say or do while you're alive. It's also what you stand for. What people see when they see you in their mind's eye. And that applies even after a person has passed away. And this man was able to see Rav Aharon Lichtenstein in his mind's eye. He had passed away. But he knew what Rav Aharon would say about this. And that's what guided him in his decision, in his practice. I think it's a great story. And I think it's a wonderful, fitting tribute to Rav Aharon Lichtenstein. I think there are thousands and thousands of people that would have similar types of stories to tell. But it's also a great question that every single one of us should ask ourselves. If somebody was in a dilemma, somebody I know, or maybe it's someone I don't know, but someone is in a dilemma, and they took a moment to think about which path should they take, A or B, yes or no, which way should they go? And they were to take a moment and to think, I don't know why they would, but let's say they would take a moment and think, if Michael Whitman was here, what would he say? Ask yourself, what would they conclude? What would their answer be? In other words, what do you stand for in other people's eyes? And here's the really serious question to ask yourself. If you're not satisfied with the answer, if when you think this through about yourself honestly, if someone were in a position they had to make a decision, and for some reason they thought to themselves, what would Michael Whitman say? And if I'm not happy, I'm not satisfied with what I think their answer would be, then I need to think about what I need to do to change that. What I need to do so that not only what I say and do is proper, but also what I stand for. What people will see in their mind's eye if they think about me. And every single one of us needs to ask ourselves this question. And I suggest to you that this Shabbos, that highlights the importance of good leadership and the disastrous results when the leadership is not ideal, I think that this Shabbos is a good time to consider and ponder and plan to take action on that question we ask ourselves. My friends, I wish you a great day, and I look forward to seeing you soon in person.